So, and even that, right, is, can you blame people?
No, because everything on the main line where we would be at has changed over so much with the secrecy and the politics, and the more you get into that, the uglier it gets. You know what I mean? The grimier it gets, and so it's safe to say that you've been around a lot of people, right? And you know, you got these people that's on the main line and running our hoods in the streets, and they act as though they don't have flaws. They act as though they don't have flaws. And I think it's safe to say that you know for a fact that a lot of these people did fucked up shit. Right.
And do you think it's fair that they so hard pressed on being unforgiving like that over there, seeing as though they might have so many flaws?
To be honest, I don't think it's fair at all, but neither a lot of things I don't think is fair. It's more than what I think, is what I know. They follow in politics of a different race. You know what I mean?
True.
I've been in high power when Elimu called down Tookie Williams, rest in peace, the big homie that started the Crips. He was my neighbor. We didn't have conversations and rap about some of these things. I've been next door neighbors in 2904, the 6-man unit that's built for high power. Next door to Indio, both the Indios that started Mexican Mafia, the one on death row and the one that was in Pelican Bay Shoe. I done broke bread with these people, ate with these people, talked with these people, and even they have said that they dictate policy. I've watched police come in there with shoeboxes full of money and whatever and give it right to their cell. I've been around people who had the keys to the game across the country, not just in California corrections. And these are people that schooled me and talked to me and was my neighbors that I ate with. So,
and they not shy about
and they're not shy about and they're like, man, we dictate this. Man, we don't even have to make anybody, our own people, get on the blacks. If we wanted to, we have them killed. We have them poisoned. Have the police do it, set them up, whatever. So we dictate policy in prison as well as on the street, in the street game with the cartels we run. And so, you know, I'm not speaking nothing on that don't nobody know, so I don't mind being candid about it. But I done been around, I done been there with 4 or 5-star generals with the BGF and that's now rest in peace, as well as the Mexican Mafia and Crip gang, you know what I mean? And
everybody done made mistakes, right?
That's the one thing in common. Everybody has made mistakes, even if it was a mistake of judgment against other people.
So when did you think that it became so unforgiving? Because it was a time when you made a mistake, you got an issue, and you kept it going, right?
My own belief in that is just that, in my experience, in my clouded mind from my issues, the best I can tell you is that my belief system on that is when people who had something serious to hide came in power. You know, it is
they had to be.
The guilty person screams the loudest against those who are considered guilty.
Because they didn't want stuff to get out, so they had to be aggressive. They had to
overcompensate.
They had to overcompensate.
Exactly.
And you told me that, you know, you done seen stuff, and a lot of the stuff you don't speak on, and don't speak specific names because it's dangerous stuff. It's not nothing to play with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they done took good homies away from us.
Yeah.
And now they use the power that they achieved by doing that to do what? Oppress us even more?
Not to oppress us even more, but just to get along in the conditional circumstances that they got set up by other powers that control their fate. The unseen hand, so to speak. That hand means something, and everybody know. You know what I mean? When they see that handprint, that it means, you know what I mean, what's indicated. And so those are the unseen hands at work in politics and prison.
So you from that generation of homies that could barely walk the line because it was so little of y'all, right?
Right. Oh yeah, from the beginning. Yeah.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, back in the 80s, when I was coming up and banging, the Bloods was always outnumbered about 12 to 1. Everybody wanted to be a Crip, and if they didn't want to be a Crip, they wanted to be a Crip sympathizer. Bloods was frowned upon, and we was few but strong, at least the ones I associated with.
And it's okay, I think it's okay to name a couple homies that was solid back then, right? That paved the way for other people to be able to.
I'm talking about dudes that they're not even like no more, but one of them is Evil Al from LA Devil Lane. Another one is both the Tonestones, Big and Little Tonestone. You know what I mean? From your hood, from BPS. OG Puddin', rest in peace. Stanley Pitts from Ludus Park. Old man now, you know what I mean? I think he passed too just recently.
And these are the people who paved the way.
They paved the way
made
in the 60s and 70s,
right?
You know, shit.
You know what I'm saying? And as far as being able to, for these young dudes to be able to do the things that they do right now,
right.
What part do you feel that Peabody played in that?
I feel like Peabody played a significant role, a unique and significant role in the beginning of that, because he was there around that time. You know what I mean? He was there at the foundation. But I don't know enough about my big homie to be able to elaborate in detail about what he did, because, you know, he was a part of something that I didn't never take paperwork. Just to be Lane, you was guilty by association. True. Back then in the 80s. If you was Lane, you was UBN. That's it.
And let's say, is it safe to say that what it started as is way far off from what it is now?
It's way far off, because I got into it with my homie OG Green Dog, General from UBN, over some of the things he was doing with the little homies. I mean, he got caught up in the drug thing, and he was abusing and bullying the little homies. And so did the other big homies that I loved that came up under. And I fought these dudes. I mean, we fought death fight. We didn't fight to win. We was fighting to kill. You know what I mean? So it put me in a hot seat for a while, especially when I dusted off a general. You know what I mean? And almost killed him. And the only way I stopped is by his lieutenant pulling a gun on me, told me if I didn't stop, it was going to kill me. So I let him go, and we moved on. But that changed the politics for me in the hood for the longest, because I had an argument in one of the hood meetings with homies who wanted to side up with the South Loans to attack the Hoovers. And I said, no, we ain't having that. We ain't hooking up with no Mexicans to attack no niggas. We fight our own battles and do our own dirt, or we don't do it at all. We go peace treat with them niggas before we hook up with some Sureños.
And that's because you knew the truth of how these people felt about us, no matter who they beef with, that they was going to use us as a tool. That's it.
That's it, as a tool.
And you knew this already from being in prison, and understanding and having experiences that they didn't give a fuck about us.
Man, I paroled after 4 years, opening up Pelican Bay, got right out of Pelican Bay shoe, and acted a fool. I was just a kid. And the homies was on some shit, working with some of the messages. I'm like, it's good to treat your neighbors right, but don't work with them in no crime against another black person. That's out. We do our own dirt.
And that caused a lot of problems for you,
That caused a lot of problems for me. They were looking at me funny, and then after getting into it with some of the generals behind my ideas and beliefs, I moved out of my own hood and stayed permanently over there in Crenshaw Mafia hood, because I wasn't safe there, because I did some things to some generals that all they had to do was just put some paperwork and get me lit.
Man, thank you for popping out, man. I appreciate it, man. I do.